And welcome back. Corelogic just announced their latest housing market forecast through February of 2024. They also provide some insights regarding home prices nationwide and also the citywide level as well for February this year. In addition, they also shared the top 5 cities in which they are predicting that home prices are going to decrease the most over the next 12 months. So with that said, I have a lot to share in today's video. Let's go ahead and dive right in. This again is according to Corelogic here regarding analysis regarding home prices this February and also a forecast through February 2024. This report is published on a monthly basis, and of course I make a video based on it every month as well. And then you look at the nation, the statewide level, as well as the citywide level as well. So before I share their forecast, here's what they had to say regarding what happened to home prices on a year-over-year basis and also compared to 1 month ago this February. It says home prices nationwide based on their HPI or their home price index increased year over year by 4.4% this February. Also, prices increased by 0.8% this February compared to last January. And these changes of home prices nationwide is actually not too much far off what I reported to you guys yesterday, because I actually went over this analysis or this report in yesterday's video from Black Knight. And Black Knight reported that home prices increased by 0.16% this February compared to January. And that was the strongest single month gain since May of 2022. Also, on a year-over-year basis, home prices increased by 1.94% according to Black Knight. So before I share Corelogic's latest housing market forecast, I actually want to share the previous 4 forecasts with you guys. So back in November 2022 through November of 2023, they actually forecasted that home prices are going to increase by 2.8%. That was the first downward revision in their 12-month housing market forecast in the last 3 months. Then in December, their housing market forecast was a 3% gain over the next 12 months at that time. That was the third upper revision in the last 4 months, by the way. Then in January through January 2024, they're forecasting that prices were going to increase by 3.1%. And that was their second upper revision in their housing market forecast. Now entered their latest housing market forecast, February 2023 through February 2024, they're predicting that prices are going to increase by 3.7%. And this is actually the third consecutive upper revised housing market predictions. Here's a snapshot of their latest housing market forecast here, a gain of 0.2% from February to March this year, but over the next 12 months, a gain of 3.7%. In regards to current price trends we're seeing right now, we're seeing this divergence in the US right now, where Western states are experiencing the biggest decreases in home prices, whereas in the east part of the country here, I dare say East Coast, but the eastern part of the United States here, if we split the United States down in half, the eastern side of the United States, for the most part, home prices are going up compared to 12 months ago, whereas in the West, they're actually going down. So Corelogic had this to say. The 4.4% increase in home prices from February 2022 through February 2023 was the lowest recorded since 2019. Year-over-year increase of 4.4% on a national level, the lowest levels going back to 2019. In fact, 8 states and districts recorded annual home price decreases. So home prices decreasing compared to 1 year ago in 8 states and districts. And these areas are relatively more expensive than other parts of the country here. For example, that encompasses the Western United States, including California, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, as well as Utah. However, though, on the opposite end of the spectrum here, home price gains are holding steady in some large East Coast metros as workers return to the office and buyer demand renews in some areas that saw relatively less price appreciation over the past couple of years than in the West Coast, for example. In addition to that, areas in the southern US are also holding up well as well, given current market conditions. Also, according to Corelogic's chief economist, she stated the following: the divergence in home price changes across the U.S. reflects a tale of two housing markets. Declines in the West are due to the tech industry slowdown and a severe lack of housing affordability, whereas the consistent gains in the Southeast and South reflect strong job markets, in migration patterns, in other words, people moving to those areas, and of course, relatively affordability as well. In regards to housing affordability, look at this, because this is a difference between home prices in California versus Florida for February based on the median sold price. So according to the California Association of Realtors for February, the median sold price in California was just over $735,000, whereas in Florida for February, for the state as a whole, the median sold price is at $395,000. In other words, for the state as a whole in Florida versus California, home prices are actually 86% cheaper than California's prices. This is actually one of the reasons why home prices in Florida as a whole for February are up by 3.5%, whereas in California, they're down by 4.8%. Corelogic also provided this map right here, which is a really good depiction to show how we have this divergence right now in the US, where Western states are experiencing price decreases for the most part, whereas in the East Coast, they're actually experiencing increases compared to 1 year ago. So for example, Idaho, California, Montana, Nevada, Oregon, Utah, Washington State, as well as Washington, D.C. are experiencing decreases on a year-over-year basis this February. So home prices are down compared to last February in each of those 8 states. In contrast though, Florida had a gain of 11.3%, Maine increased by 10.3%, and South Carolina increased by 9.2%. And this, by the way, is a top 10 states in which prices have increased the most from 12 months ago. Florida leading the nation once again, a gain of 11.3%, Maine a gain of 10.3%, South Carolina 9.2%, Vermont, Indiana up by about 9%, Arkansas a gain of 8.4%, South Dakota up by 8.1%, and North Carolina and Georgia up by 8%, and New Jersey a gain of 7.7%. Also, looking at this map right here, you can see it's clear divergence. Just split the US in half. The western states right here are either down compared to 1 year ago or experiencing gains of less than 2%. In contrast, on the eastern side of the US, especially in the South, for the most part, we're seeing gains on a year-over-year basis of at least 4%. Obviously, there's some outliers here because in Wisconsin and the state of New York, prices have increased by less than 2%. All right, changing gears here, I actually want to share this with you guys because this is what Corelogic reported exactly 1 year ago for home price changes from February 2021 through February of 2022. These are the top 10 markets in the US. Giant increases in San Diego, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Denver, as well as Miami, Florida. Again, increases in home prices compared to February of 2021 that was reported 1 year ago. Fast forward to today. Look at this though. This is what the current map looks like. This is February 2022 compared to February this year. Look at this. Phoenix, Arizona, 1 year ago, a gain of 30.4% on a year-over-year basis. Now it's actually a gain of 0.1%. Las Vegas, a decrease of 1%, whereas Las Vegas 1 year ago, they saw gains of 26.5%. Also in Denver and San Diego, over 20% gains, whereas this year, flat in San Diego and only an increase of 0.1% in Denver. So that's obviously one end of the spectrum here, but look at this as well, because 1 year ago for Miami, they saw gains of 19.5%, whereas this February, they saw gains of 15.6%. So in other words, Miami, Florida is holding up very, very well, especially compared to these other markets in which prices were absolutely skyrocketing during the pandemic years. And speaking of markets actually decreasing, here's Corelogic's forecast regarding the top 5 markets in which they are predicting over the next 12 months that prices are going to decrease. Topping the list, this is a new one, Provo, Utah, a very high probability that prices will decrease over the next 12 months. That was followed by Ogden, Utah, then Salt Lake City, Utah, Lakeland, Winter Haven, Florida, and then Boise, Idaho. And speaking of Boise, take a look at this. This is according to Redfin's data center for Boise. Prices are down 16% year over year. Also by my analysis here, which I shared in a video from a few days ago, prices are down by 20% compared to last year's highs. Also, as you can see in this chart right here on Redfin's website, prices have been decreasing more or less all year in Boise. And lastly, here's a rate update for you guys as of today, which is April 6th. The average 30-year fix for people with great credit, according to the Mortgage News Daily, is at 6.18%. A 2 basis point increase compared to yesterday. So rates right now are very, very close to being at 2-month lows. Also, rates right now for a 30-year fixed FHA is at 5.78%. and VA is at 5.87%. With that said, please comment below with your biggest takeaways from today's video. Also, if you guys got any value out of this video whatsoever, then please hit the like button. I appreciate that. Of course, I appreciate you. Hope you guys have an awesome day and look forward to seeing you on the next video.